Now, a lot of small
Period.
businesses, they're afraid to market that hard. They
Oh,
feel
for sure.
self-conscious about it. They feel
I don't
like,
I don't think it's self-conscious. It's seriously that they don't understand the math. And they almost refuse to
it's so
accept
true. Yeah.
math. And this is the thing that I love the most in business is that the math doesn't lie to you.
I You're so right. So Joe, welcome to
Thanks.
our show. This is another episode of
Big
Big
talk
Talk
about
about
small business.
small business. Where are you located, Joe? I know you're somewhere out in the
I'm
western part of the country.
Yeah, I'm in Montana. So I'm in Southwest Montana.
Montana. Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Okay. Well, that's great. Big sky country.
that's right.
Y-
Absolutely.
y-
We got
Have you
big
got
skies
big?
today too. Oh
Do
yeah.
you?
Today,
Oh,
oh, it's
good.
so nice today. Yeah, we've definitely got it going today.
Well, we've got storms here today, so but that's typical this time of year here.
Yeah.
So Joe, tell everybody a little bit about yourself. Joe is an entrepreneur. He's had multiple ventures.
Mhm.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get started? And tell us about some of your businesses.
So, how did I get started? Well, that's a good question. I dropped out of college to start a business because somebody made an amazing promise that it was going to be awesome, and it was the opposite of that. It was selling products door to door out of the trunk of my car, and the promise was, "Hey, if you come work with us." Not only will you make money every day, and coming from a family that didn't have money, not that we were the bottom of the barrel broke, but like we didn't have money for new stuff all the time, right? We didn't get the greatest
Sure.
clothes and all that, but we always had food, and it was never anything like that. So it's not a rags to riches type scenario, but I didn't have money. And so the opportunity to make money and the fact that I went to college really with the only intent that I thought I could walk onto the basketball team and play. And I walked on, made the team, and never played. And so
Oh,
after a couple years, it was like, well, guess what? My 5'11", not that great of a jump shot. Basketball career is kind of coming to a rapid end. So I decided to not finish college and go and build a business. And so the first thing I learned to do was door to door sales. It was exactly what it sounds like, terrible. And but the promise actually rang true. If you come, you
yep.
build your team of people, and you sell and you do well, and all this, you can open an office, and they would consign products to us. And so I had a warehouse with $1 million worth of inventory that was on consignment to me. And then
What were
I
you
had a
selling?
whole, name it,
What
kitchen
was it?
utensils and knives and children's toys and books and art,
Okay.
like name it. And the way that it was, basically the way that it worked. I mean, this is kind of like the internet existed, but eBay was not even a thing yet. It was
Yep.
just kind of starting to become something. And so what they would do is to figure out whether they would put products in stores rather than go and fight for shelf space for products, whether it be
Mhm.
a wrinkle of a different type of a culinary set, or it was a set of children's books and Tupperware and who knows. Instead of trying to fight for shelf space on a on a in a store, they would actually run this around the entire country, find out if the product would sell, then go fight for shelf space. And so we were what we would call test marketers back then. Now you put it on the internet, see if anybody will buy it, and then But we did test marketing, essentially, is what it was. But the test marketing was legitimate sales, because there's nothing better than saying, "Hey, would you buy something by giving me your money right this minute?" rather than just the concept of like, "Hey, is this a good idea?" And so that's what we did. And so we sold that, and I had that business running for a couple years. And at 22, I sold the company. Um, didn't make that much money, but then that got me into real estate. And then after the 2008 crash, I lost everything. Started an e-commerce business. I read the book The 4 Hour Work Week, realized I needed to do the 4 Hour Work Week thing. So I moved to San Diego, lived on the beach, built an e-commerce business. And that was great until the FDA shut down the product that I was selling. So that got closed. And then I just started getting asked, like, well, how did you build the business? Like, how did you get customers? And I kind of had a knack for marketing. So I opened a marketing agency, did that until my business partner, who was our biz dev person, stopped biz deving and we didn't have any new clients coming in and the business failed. And so we closed that down. I got some good advice from a friend of mine who ran through a similar scenario. And he said, look, just restart it, but don't be an agency that does everything for everybody. Do one
Right.
thing for one niche and do it better than everybody else. And
Yes.
so I chose to go, and our best client was a wedding venue. So I decided to go into the wedding industry and be a marketing agency for wedding venues only. And then that
Oh,
company, we went from zero
that's a
to,
niche.
yeah, we went from 0 to 100 grand a month in 4 months. Then we doubled it 4 months later. And
Wow.
then that kind of became the model on how we started building businesses. So that was the start to
Wow.
the,
So
yeah. And I still own that
so
agency. Yeah.
how did you I mean, when you got into that niche, like, I mean, what were you originally doing, and then what did it expand to?
We were a full service agency. It was really stupid. I think I was listening too much Gary Vee back then. And it was like, you had to have this office with glass walls and glass doors and conference rooms and all these things. And we had, 20 employees sitting in desks, but the chairs had to be ergonomic because you could get
Yeah.
sued. And oh my gosh, computer equipment. And then, we hired a guy who was really good at what we thought was going to be like internal video production to create content. And it turned out we decided, hey, let's just shoot commercials too. So we shot commercials for clients. And the next thing you know, we do everything for everyone. And it was so incredibly difficult, first of all, to get the talent. But second of all, half the team were Philippine VAs, but we still had 20 people in the US sitting in chairs. And so the overhead was insane. And so a buddy of mine asked me a question when all this was failing and crumbling down around me. And he said, if you were to pick up the phone for one client on a Sunday, who would that client be? And I was like, well, it's my friend who's a client too, who happens to own a wedding venue. And he says, well, why would you
Well,
answer the
you
phone?
I'll call
Right.
you.
Yeah. Yeah. Why would you answer the phone for him? And I said, because he's not calling to complain.
Mm,
Because like, it's not a fire. We're killing it for him. So I know
yeah.
it's good
Hey,
news. It's
Joe,
going to be something to talk about. Yeah.
but I hate to interrupt you, but I just
No,
had to
go ahead.
jump in. Eric had a marketing agency as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's been through this exact same
Oh
thing,
yeah.
and he
This
did
is like a common
specialize.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
I'm sure this sounds familiar to him, this
Yeah.
story, but
Well, I mean, one thing I'm sitting here thinking about, kind of your point, Joe, like you have to there's a lot of yeses in the beginning because you're just
yeah,
Oh, so many.
you're actually in discovery mode. You're trying to find some sort of, good highway to go down, and you don't know what
Yeah.
that is. But to your point, like you start feeling that pain, and but now you have a client list that you can actually ask that question towards.
Yeah.
You've done some
But
work. You're
we
killing
didn't
it
ask the
for them.
question well. We didn't
Yeah,
ask the
right.
question well because we had so
No,
many
we didn't either.
clients and in theory, it's like we're doing millions of dollars a year and it
Yeah,
seems like we're successful, right? Everything's moving. The
yeah,
problem was we ended up losing two clients who happened to be a combined 40% of the entire revenue. The moment that happened, we go immediately into the red. And now I'm using debt to pay payroll. And so I rack up $250,000 in debt personally to cover and
hmm
keep the business afloat. At the same time, business partners not developing any new business. So we're kind of just flat. And
yeah,
so the crazy part was the friend of mine who kind of became a mentor and asked me that kind of very pointed question. I had I had talked to him a little bit before when things were starting to kind of fall apart. And I chatted with him and I just said, hey, like, what's your advice? And he said, close it down. And I'm like, dude,
mm,
we're like we've got revenue. And
yeah.
he said, he goes, close it down. And I'm like, well, what are you doing right now? And he was, oh, we're doing like $60,000 a month. And I'm like, well, how many people are on your team? And he goes, 3. I'm like, well, that's kind of
Mm,
cool. Like we've got 20 plus 18 VAs. But we're
Yeah.
doing 4 times as much money as revenue as he is. So I'm like, I can't close that down. About 6, 8 months later, I see him interviewed on somebody's podcast or whatever, and he's doing 400,000 a month
Oh, wow.
with 5 people.
Wow.
And so I text him and I just said, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "You didn't listen to me, did you?" And I'm like, "Shit, no." so
Shit. Oh,
so literally like within 2 days, I actually closed down the business.
oh, wow.
And
And
that
that's
was
when
the
you
moment.
started focused on, and you started
Yeah.
focused on the wedding venue. And
Yeah.
so how were you, what was it that was making you kill it for the wedding venue industry and marketing? I mean, was it just like, do you think it was your team that was more excited about that, or was it a little bit
No, it was
the
strategy. It was
industry?
literally just yeah,
Yeah.
it was there was a gap in their market that was way behind everybody else. So the wedding industry kind of does everything last. So I mean, think back, marketing. Marketing automation. Super simple. We've been doing it forever. They adopted it way last. Like you cannot send an automated message to a bride. It has to be personal. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. And so when I started with my buddy's venue, which I later became an owner in, he gave me equity, we put in marketing and automation and it skyrocketed. He went from, they were doing about 57 weddings a year. And in 14 months, they were doing 120. We killed it. And so because of that, they said, hey, we'd like to give you a piece of the business. And then later on, we went and invested in a bunch of other venues. But so that's what it was we just saw a gap that existed that they weren't taking advantage of. Just like now, I still own the agency in that space. They're now starting to talk about AI. And I'm like, you guys, like, dude, we've been doing this for a while. Where have you guys been? But that's how the industry works.
So you went wide, narrowed down, and I'm sure that once you found success there, you started scaling that out to other venues, right? And then
Oh yeah.
rubber stamping that methodology. And I mean, just
Yep.
now you got a streamlined practice process.
Yep.
Yeah, it's good.
Yep.
That's interesting. You don't know this about me, Joe, but anyway, I started a consulting, publishing, media training business for architects and engineers 37 years ago. It just, for the fourth time, was on the Inc. 500, 5,000 list in 2024. And it was the same thing for us. We're serving this one industry that's
Mhm.
very fragmented and
Yeah.
has a million small players in it, and they don't know anything about the
Yep.
stuff that we do. It's kind of like that. That's what you found there was that sweet spot. And they all want to know, what did you do for other people like me?
Yep.
Yep.
So now you've got that history and track record. And my theory is, like, when you don't have big players, like Eric's agency, he worked for a lot of consumer product companies, and I think they're a lot farther ahead in terms of their marketing sophistication because
For
there's big
sure.
players out there,
Yeah.
and they got money to spend. These small companies, they tend to be 10 or 15 years behind everybody else.
Yeah.
There's no
Uh-huh.
like dominant players out there with the funds to
Mm.
like push things forward.
They're not major corporations with a lot
Yeah.
of resources, right? And
Yep.
There's now what's happening, especially, I mean, you see it in real estate with big companies coming in and buying neighborhoods, right? Same things happening. And you see it in like HVAC where these big, groups are coming in, they're buying 100, 300, they're doing roll-ups. It's happening in the wedding industry right now where
okay.
there's 4 or 5 serious players with VC money behind them that are coming in
Yep.
and buying venues. And the industry is going to change because of that. But it's
Sure.
Mhm.
it's but it's interesting because all of we tend to work with independent business owners, people who own
Yes.
a wedding venue, but it's independent. They own it. They don't have partners. It's kind of like, well, I own a 50-acre ranch and we have this amazing barn and we decided to turn it into a venue. Now we do 100 weddings a year and it's amazing, but they still don't understand what they should be doing, building their
Yeah.
brand, building
Sure.
their marketing, all of the technology, all of that stuff. They have no idea. And so yeah, it's tough.
Well, it's overwhelming to them, right? And they have the property and the location. They've done a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work to maintain that, and then to have somebody like you come in and now you can drive business for them. I mean, that's a huge. I mean, the good thing is like true on the agency side. The success metric is bringing new sales in. I mean, that's
Yep.
just the name of the game, right? And
Yeah.
you growing those number of venue bookings a year. I mean, that's your
Yep.
top line number metric, and if you figure out how to do it, then I mean, you're doing a service. You
But
know?
Yeah.
the
And
great thing
oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say the great thing about your business though is you can completely define who your target market is.
Yep.
Nothing's
Yeah.
better than a
Yeah.
business like that. You know, a
Yes.
B2B business where you know every potential buyer of what you do, okay? It's fantastic. You know, as opposed to anybody could buy what we do. That's hard to market.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it is. And it's the niche is tight when competition rises, but realize that the end consumer, that market size isn't growing, it's shrinking. So that's where we run into some challenges, right? So there's more venues opening up every year in every market around the country, but the number of engaged people who are going to get married, that number's shrinking. So there's this weird inverse where the market, you have to start to get good at marketing if you want to
Mm.
succeed,
Sure.
because the shiny new venue that opens up against somebody who's established and well, they just get attention because they're shiny and new,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Their windows are still clean. And so
Oh, I
it's an
love that.
interesting strategy where we have to take these established businesses and make sure that they're that they can still stay on top.
So, Joe, according to your resume here, you got 2016 is when you started the wedding booking system, but then in 2017, not even a year later, you're starting a virtual assistant agency, basically called
Yep.
Level 9. Tell us about what I
Yes.
mean. Okay, so you got the wedding thing going, then I guess you had yet another great idea, and you're like, hey, I should do VA stuff because you've been using that in your business, and
Yep.
you've kind of probably figured out a lot there. I'm assuming.
Yep.
I'm uh, I'm
Yep.
I'm
No,
catching
you're
this
assuming
on you
right.
like I
Yeah.
know. And then you crank it out. What was your prompting for that?
Well, I realized when I relaunched, like I'm relaunching my agency, but I'm only doing the wedding industry.
Right?
We used my method for doing it was super simple. It was, I'm going to create a fulfillment process so that I can record it, I can teach it, and I can put a couple people in place to do all of fulfillment. So I never
That's
have to
great.
touch fulfillment. My job is to sell. And
Yeah.
so to bring in new business. But how am I going to get in front of people? Because if I'm prospecting, I'm not selling.
Yeah.
So I need to be
Right.
selling. So I put one VA in place, and all he did 8 hours a day, 5 days a week was prospect. Social media outreach, email outreach. He'd pick up the phone and call, and he's based in the Philippines.
Hmm.
And he would just tee me up. All I wanted was the conversation started. If you could start the conversation, I'll close the sale. And so we
Yeah.
did that. And I went from zero, having, well, technically it was $2,300 a month from my friend,
Sure.
to 100 grand a month in 4 months. And it
That's
was
great.
109,000. And we did that. And I went, okay, hold on. Okay, let's double down and do it again. So now we got a second person to help. And then
Yeah.
we did the exact same thing, did it again. So next thing you know, we've got this business, and I'm like, okay, this is like a real deal. Like, there's money now. I paid off all my debt from the business that failed. We're moving. This is real. At the same time, everybody kept asking, like, well, we kind of need some help, but you're using virtual assistants. So how do we do that? And I said, well, I mean, I could kind of offer this to my clients. And then I just
Mhm.
the VAs basically came to me and said, hey, you do know that you just tell everybody how to hire VAs. You could have a VA company. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. And they said, well, we'll manage it. We'll run it. You just help us build it. And so sure enough, we did that. They run the business. And so even today, the company is far larger than any other company I've built so far. The VAs run the company. So I do strategic. Yeah. So I look at myself as like a strategic advisor and an investor.
Yeah.
So I come in at 30,000 feet and say, hey, here's where we're going. What resources do you need to execute? And then they come up with their plans. We put an execution model for it, and then they run. And then we
Th-
adjust and keep going.
So that's called Level 9. So Level 9 virtual. So do
Yes.
y'all have a niche that you focus in? I mean, is it an industry or is there a service that you're focused on for that?
Yeah. So the interesting part is that through the wedding side of things, the wedding industry, the software that we were using was kind of the crux that made everything function well. We started out using Infusionsoft. Scipio for text messaging, ClickFunnels to build funnels and landing pages, and all these tech stack. And so the
Yeah.
tech stack was really expensive. So the friend of mine who gave me the advice, obviously, we get going, and he's like, "Hey, I need a CRM, a market automation tool. Why don't we find a developer and do it together?" And I'm like, "That'd
Mhm.
be awesome because I got this tech stack that's crazy expensive." And a little, I don't know, we invested about 100 grand each into it, and then the developers failed. And we went,
Mm.
"Oh, okay, now we're stuck. What do we do now?" So as we're in that
Yeah.
process, he goes, "Hey, I actually ran into an old friend of mine. He's already further down the line. They're already almost ready to launch. Let's see what they come up with." And so that was, I don't know if you've ever heard of High Level.
Yeah.
Yeah. So go High Level. So I was their very first customer ever.
Oh, wow.
And so I rebuilt wedding booking system on top of High Level. And so we rebuilt the whole thing, moved everything into that one platform. It dropped my cost by like 90%, and
Mhm.
we built it there. So what ended up happening being we were the first VA service to exist inside that community. So immediately we explode staying inside the niche of, hey, we can work inside the platform because we were the
Yeah.
first people to ever use it. So that became our first niche. Then it expanded into agencies, HubSpot, Keep, all the other platforms.
Right.
So we stayed with agencies. Now we've expanded and been able to support more people, different businesses, but our core focus is really well, now we've kind of shifted much more to AI, but it's
Mhm.
marketing type services. That's mostly what we do for small businesses.
Is it like when you say marketing, like prospecting, like lead gen
No,
type
I'm talking
stuff?
about building automations, building, inside a CRM, marketing automation tool, building email campaigns, setting up cold outreach, running paid ads on, doing paid media, graphic design, video editing. Like we have a team they do everything. Yeah. And then we recruit for all of those different skill sets.
Yeah, and so I guess in your position, you're meeting with companies, talking about their needs, and
Yep.
you basically have
Well, I
like a
don't.
virtual
My
what
team does.
your team but you have a virtual marketing team basically that's offshore
100%.
virtual marketing and
Yep.
automated, and
100%.
they just get
Yep.
in and whatever their gaps are, whatever their focus wants to be. Like, so if I wanted to hire you guys specifically for like LinkedIn outreach
Yep.
prospecting, you guys could tap into our CRM Zoho and do
Yep.
that outreach and marry those things together, giving our sales team kind of warm leads to follow up on, and like you can
Yeah.
start and stop anywhere in that box, right? And then
Oh
expand as
yeah,
needed.
absolutely. Yep.
It's cool.
I mean, so if you were to go look online, any single thing that exists on the internet of me, Level 9 Virtual, wedding booking system, my new company that we're launching, RevLift, anything that exists, I didn't touch it. It's 100% created, the mind, everything from virtual assistants, not me.
Is your team is all in the Philippines then?
Yes. Yeah, we've got a couple people who support from the US. Like my CMO, because she works in all of my companies, she's here in the US. My sales director, he's actually in the US, but he has a team of people in the Philippines.
So tell us a little bit about why the Philippines.
So I've tried everywhere. So again, I read the book The 4 Hour Work Week. That's when I hired my first VA was November of 2008. And I've had at least one, if not a full team working with me every single day since that day. I tried India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Vietnam, name it, Australia, Canada, Mexico, everywhere. The biggest factor that I ran into is because I was typically using them for marketing. And it was like lots of design stuff, lots of editing, lots of help us create a website, help us create graphics, help us do all these things. The only country that understood US style was the Philippines. And the reason was English is their second language. Universities teach in English. Street signs are in English. They wear our clothes, they watch our movies, and they listen to our music. They absolutely understand the culture more than any other country. So that was the reason. There was cost leverage, obviously, which is, the main reason to use outsourcing. And so that was kind of the reason we chose the Philippines.
One thing though, Joe, is
Yeah.
when Eric and I came back to a company that I sold in '04 that was taken over by its lenders in 2010, or 9, and then we came back in 2010 and we're trying to resuscitate it. We were saddled, I want to say saddled with Philippines
In India.
and India service providers. And one of the things that they were using the Filipinos for at that time was outbound lead generation. And so I'll never forget, I get this voicemail sent to me by one of my old clients I used to be on the guy's board of his company. And he sends me this. He's like, holy cow, Mark, what are you guys doing now? And it was this Filipino trying to sell him our services and had a very sing-songy voice, and he sounded almost like a
Yep.
recording, and it was very strange, and he couldn't even pronounce the name right. It was, I am calling from Zweig White, it's Zieg White, And anyway, he's like, what are you guys doing? And I remember we killed it right then and there.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
remember you coming in.
Yeah, and how do you deal with that? I guess is because the language, even though they could speak English well, it was not English that sounded normal to people here in this
Well,
country.
I think it's also, what are you selling? So if
Right.
I'm selling virtual assistant services and there's a virtual assistant on the call, that makes absolute sense to people. And it's like, okay, you do your best to find the person who has the best English. I never want anybody. I don't want to try to find somebody who doesn't have an accent, because that's not authentic. That's like a unicorn. You're not going to find it. So we don't look for that by any means and stress on that side of it. What we're looking for is, can somebody communicate well? Because at the end of the day, people are buying productivity. They're buying output. They don't care necessarily if the person doesn't sound perfect. They want the output. If it's a situation where you're trying to get somebody to do outbound calling or things like
Yeah.
that,
Right.
inbound calling's funny because nobody cares. They're just used to India answers the phone, the Philippines answer the phone. Every bank in America uses the
Oh, I know.
Philippines, and right. So we're all used to that on an inbound call when we actually call that company. The
That's right.
outbound side of it is the part that's hard. So we don't use the
Right.
Philippines for outbound.
Okay.
We use Latin
Yeah.
America now. But
Oh
even
really?
now, getting even further away from that, we're not even doing that. We're just using AI. And so we're
Yeah.
moving away from humans on the outbound piece, going to AI first, having them
Mhm.
be a setter, and then bring it back in-house. That's how we're doing
Yeah.
it now.
Well,
Because AI can go to dialect, southern, northern, right, western
Yeah,
dialect. I mean, you
it's
can,
still a little, it's still quite iffy. Number one, in a lot of markets, it's actually against the law to outbound using a robot. That's illegal.
really.
So we're very hesitant in how we do it, but like our methodology is create inbound marketing, inbound leads,
Mhm.
instantly call them back using AI.
Yeah.
So
I see.
now we're not cold outreach.
Okay.
Okay.
That's inbound marketing. We're just
Gotcha.
reaching back out because they asked for information. And so that's
You know,
fully legal to use with AI.
I will agree with Joe. I mean, like when I was working with you, we had India and Philippines.
Mhm.
When it came to, like, Joe's right. They understand the culture because when we did any creative design, any type of written content messaging, I mean,
Yep.
it was very little back and forth on that.
Mhm.
And whereas India was just, they weren't efficient with that at
Yeah.
all. But when you get into like more of the analytical part of stuff, India would always do a
Sure.
fantastic
That's
job. But I met
Mhm.
one of the best workers in my life when I was at Zweig White,
Who was that?
Parul
Parole.
Dubey.
I knew you were
She,
talking Parole.
she was in India, but man, the only person in my entire life, still to this day, that reported to me, she would call me every week. Eric, I've ran out, and this would be like a Wednesday. Eric, I've ran out of work to do. What
Yeah.
else
What
can
else
I
you got?
do?
Yep.
I'm like, Parole, I
Nobody
just
asked
go to
me that.
bed. I love you for asking, but I
Yeah.
mean, no one has ever asked me that before or since.
That's
I have
funny.
ran out of work. Give me more.
I just remember we had to have a bus, and Parole was one of the reasons because they didn't want to be taking public transit.
Yeah.
So we had our own bus to pick up all our temporary workers and take them to work and take them home.
She was great, man. She was a
But
leader, man.
yeah,
She was awesome. One of the best workers ever.
So I love this idea though of the AI responding. I mean, the great thing about the AI is it can work 24 hours a day and it never gets tired and it never gets, doesn't
Yeah,
put the phone in the cradle, right? I mean, it just
that's right.
goes.
I think the
Um,
biggest thing to recognize is that you have to be truthful. Eh,
yeah,
I really don't like if they're not upfront that you're talking to
Yeah.
AI and they're trying to hide
yeah,
it. I'd
Right.
rather come straight up and just say, no, no, no. Like, yeah, I am the AI agent for this. I can do
Right.
these things to get you as far as you need to go. When you're ready to talk to a human, you just tell me.
That's right. No, I
Yeah.
agree
you're right
100%.
on with that. I had a call recently and it was AI, and I asked, "Are you AI?" And it would not answer. It wouldn't say no and it
Stupid.
wouldn't say yes. It
It's
really
stupid.
was
And the
evasive.
thing is
Okay.
2
Yeah,
minutes into the call, 30 seconds into the call,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
there's a pause, there's a gap, there's just
Mhm.
a little bit.
The weirdness.
It's not there yet. It's not there
Yeah.
yet. And it'll get there and it's going to be scary as hell, but it's not there yet.
Well, and when it gets there too, I mean, I'd argue that humans still, I mean, like, look, we're still humans, right? We want authenticity.
Yep.
We want to be treated with genuineness.
Right.
We want that that personal attention. We all want attention. It's a human nature. And I think that to your point, as long as companies continue to be transparent about it, it can work really well and everybody will be good with it. Just don't try to fool me. No one likes being sold to.
So,
Yeah.
no.
And I think it's an interesting situation because we're in the middle of AI really becoming the way things are going to be. But I
Mhm.
believe that we're watching the pendulum swing. And
Mhm.
the conversation right now is go as far AI as possible and
Right.
get as much stuff. And then what's going to happen is we're going to get to a point when it's like, I don't know which video is real
Right.
because it's that good. I don't know which one's real. I don't know what conversation is real. And the pendulum's going to swing back to wanting AI is fine, but I still want that real human connection. And I think that that will come
I
back
was
to it.
talking to somebody. I mean, I know we could go in the weeds on this, but I was talking to somebody a few weeks ago and they brought up a really great analogy. We all know IKEA and we all would
Mhm.
buy IKEA, right? It's less expensive, it's dependable, you can expect that same thing.
Stylish.
Yeah, and you'll pay a certain amount for that,
It's
but
cheap.
everybody would still buy a handmade piece of furniture and spend more for that handmade piece of furniture. Not
100%.
necessarily because it's not technically better,
Yeah, it doesn't function
doesn't
better.
function better, but there's a nostalgia to that.
Yeah.
There's a elevated thing. So I think to your point, we're going to swing really far this way, and then the humans who are the ones that are buying decisions. I
Mhm.
know that
Yeah.
there'll be buying agents and stuff, but that's different. But the human connection, will pay more a higher premium,
Yep.
to get somebody on the line and give us that attention we want and be able to complain and voice and have somebody be empathetic. Mark, I'm sorry about that. I mean, and
Yeah.
like humanly connecting, that
The
desire is not going to,
emotional,
yeah, yeah, the
Yeah.
emotional
it's
connection.
funny. I was just talking with my brother this morning. He was in the ad agency business. He was the chairman of a group of companies under the WPP umbrella. I don't know if you know who WPP is, but they're
I don't.
huge owners of ad agencies. They had J. Walter Thompson and Ogilvy and Mather and all this. And we were talking about AI.
Hmm.
And he was telling me about somebody he was at the dinner with recently who teaches creative writing, or no, he gave a talk at CUNY, City University of New York. Person teaches creative writing, and they were like, "Well, AI is taking over so much of the writing," and he said, "Yeah, but on the other hand, it can only go so far. So in reality, people who are really good creative writers are going to be needed more than
Yeah.
ever."
Yep.
Because of so much of this AI generated writing. And it's
Hmm.
kind of interesting when you think about it like that. It's just what you guys are saying. You can only take it so far, and then it's going to come back to the human element.
Yeah. I mean, at
And,
Walmart, you can buy stuff and get it delivered to your house by a drone, but
right.
you still want to go to downtown. You want to go look at the mom and pop small businesses.
Well, my
Look,
wife
Yep.
does. I don't
yeah.
want to. I
Well,
just want to push a button and have
well,
the shit delivered by a drone.
yeah,
I
that's
mean, I
because
have
you're
no interest
well,
in
it's
that.
because you're mostly a robot. You're not even a human anymore. You're just a robot. and you have no heart or soul. But I'm talking to
No,
people that are I'm just kidding. But I mean,
no,
there's still something about going down and window shopping and having that
For
community and
sure.
helping and serving other people,
sure.
investing in your community. I mean, we also, we're going to have that. But I mean, it's the same
Community is going to
principle.
be community is what the future
Mhm.
is going to hold. That's
Yeah.
exactly
No,
what it's
you're
going to be.
right.
There's an interview. Gary Vaynerchuk gives an interview. It's pretty funny. It's
Up,
recently, and he says
back
there's
to
going to
Gary
come a
V.
day. There's going to become a
I thought you
day.
quit listening to Gary V,
Oh,
Joe.
dude, now it's interesting because times have changed, right? So,
He,
but
he was a
what I love
Gary V
about it,
fan too.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's interesting. He says that in our lifetimes we will see where people will pay money for you to take a walk with them.
Yeah.
That'll be a
I,
business.
I can
Come
see
take a
that.
walk with me and I'll pay
I,
you. And the
Yeah.
reason is because AI is trying to eliminate community. But
Right.
yet, if you look what's funny online, companies like school.com,
Yep.
gigantic community based,
Yep.
right? I mean, so it's very interesting how we're going to come back to the thing that is the most human of all, which is tribal
Hmm.
community. That we're going to come back to that,
Yep.
especially
We-
when you can't tell the difference between reality and AI. You know, what is real and what's AI? Videos on the internet, people saying anything, somebody selling you something, you're not going to know. So community is going to be even more important.
no, you're right. It's funny. I just came back from the Janus Motorcycles owners rally, and I'm one of the owners and of Janus Motorcycles, as well as an owner of a Janus motorcycle. But that's what we have
yeah.
is this
Yeah,
community, and getting all those people
100%.
together is
Look at like
unbelievable. The
music
camaraderie.
festivals. Look at music
Yeah,
festivals.
Yeah.
Sold
yeah.
100%.
out.
It's
Yep.
I
it's
mean,
it.
anybody ever try to get what's the thing in the desert they do? Burning Man.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
Anybody
Burning
try to get a
Man.
ticket?
Burning Man.
It's like impossible. Yeah, like
Yeah.
those are community things. They're
Yep.
experiences. And I think what I
Yeah,
hope, and this is something we really work to instill in our kids, is that experiences are better than product. So let's
right.
go have experiences rather than just buy stuff all the time.
Oh yeah,
Well, that's the 100% behind a brand development and marketing, right? You want to create a brand that's not a product, but an experience.
sure.
Experience.
You want to identify and attach with that brand, and I mean that's just going to live forever. Hey, so we only got like 10 minutes left, Joe. I want
Yeah, no
you
worries.
you in passing throughout as like a true entrepreneur would. Oh, and I'm starting
Got a
another
plug.
business called Rev something. Like, tell us
Yeah.
what's that?
Yeah.
What are you doing there, man?
So here's what's funny. We have all of these tools that are awesome. We got data intelligence that we use, and identity resolution on websites, and buyer intent data that we could use in advertising, and all these tools that are amazing. And at the end of the day, what does everybody want? They want more sales. They want more
Yeah.
revenue so that they can make more money. And so as we were evaluating a lot of our client base and just what people were needing, we realized how much revenue they have just sitting in their existing database, their existing
Mm,
customers. And
Mhm.
yep.
so we, using AI so much, we just created our own AI model that will
Yep.
take their customer database, it'll analyze everything there,
That's
it'll
great.
give them a distinct playbook for every single one customer that they have. Every one.
Wow.
So if we have a customer who's in our database, they've been buying services from us, how do we get more revenue from that one person based on the data we have on them? Or can we go identify more data by doing things like data enrichment? And so when we
Yep.
take that, we decided to create a data intelligence business called RevLift. And the
Mhm.
goal is that you're spending X amount of money on your marketing every month. Again, small
Mhm.
businesses. If I look at the wedding industry as a whole, they spend on average $2,000 to $3,000 a month on marketing in
Sure.
whole,
Yeah,
Right.
not
including
much
that.
advertising, including
Right.
ads. It's
Yeah.
low, right? So we're a high
Yep.
volume, low cost. How can we get more money for everything, every dollar they spend? We
Right.
run a revenue intelligence model. And so using AI to do it has been incredible. So we started it with our wedding clients. It went gangbusters. Moved it to the virtual assistant clients. It went crazy. So now I said, all right, I guess we should build a real business out of this. And so we just started establishing our brand. I just actually 2 days ago, I built a website with my graphic designer using nothing but AI. So we prompted 100% of what exists on the website today just with prompting.
Yeah.
And it took 38 prompts and an hour and 29 minutes. And we had a
Mhm.
live, fully functional website.
Yep.
And so we did that just to kind of prove that the model, for the Level
Possible.
9 virtual clients and so forth. So we did that. So RevLift.ai is our new business. We aren't taking any money yet. We are rolling out a launch, I think, in 2 weeks. And
Mhm.
so we will go live with that.
So to your wedding example, your wedding venue as a client example, then these venues have had, say I've had 50 weddings at my location, right? And
Yeah.
I'm doing outbound marketing to bring in the top funnel advertising. What RevLift does is it says, hey, you've had 50 people at your location. They got married there. They had good experiences. How do we engage them to bring in new business? That could be like
Yeah,
referral programs. That could be, I mean,
exactly.
all kinds of different stuff, right?
So with the wedding industry, one of the core values that RevLift offers is how do you get more for every marketing dollar you spend, instead of, because most of the client or all of the clients in the wedding industry are one-off.
Yeah.
They
That's
pay
what I was
once, they
gonna
get married
say.
once, you're gone.
Right.
Right? There's no
Right.
reoccurring revenue.
Well, except for
The
Eric and me.
full
Right. Right. Except for us. You're
We,
like,
we,
yeah,
we,
you guys did it twice, huh?
it's not a one-off for 3 times for me. But
yeah,
go on.
that's right.
Well, right, but here's the thing: you didn't get married at the same place 3 times.
No,
That's
I did not.
that's fair.
Yeah,
So we're
that's the
actually not
point.
the target audience. We need to
Yeah,
be
No,
a
it's like swimming
multi-
pool companies, though. People typically
Yeah.
build one pool. I get it.
one
That's a
pool.
challenge.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
what about when you're spending money? What if you spend $1,000 a month on advertising and that brings you 500 leads? Or 500. It won't even get you that, but 200 leads. What about the other 800 people that hit your website?
Right.
Well, if we identify using identity resolution who those people are, and we give you, instead of 800, we give you 400 of those back, and you can use that to increase your return on ad spend. That's huge. That's more leads.
Yeah.
Sure
Well,
it
you
is.
think about like a wedding venue, they get all of these leads and they do a fraction of their leads as clients.
Convert.
Well,
Yeah.
So
what if
they
we
should sell photography. They should sell flowers. They should sell
easier than
wedding
that?
gowns.
What if we just take their dead leads and sell them?
There you go.
Because
Yeah.
everybody who inquires is getting married. It
Right.
doesn't matter whether they get married here, there, or anywhere. They are getting married. So
Right.
what happens after a wedding? There's a multitude of things that change: car insurance, home insurance, life insurance, healthcare, on and
Oh my
on and
God.
on and on.
Yeah.
You make these partnerships.
Baby
We
making.
Buying
yeah, right.
houses.
So now you have all those things. But even before that, though, all these companies, wedding venues and everything else, they're all sending text messaging in their marketing and doing all those things. Well, what converts better than a text message? An
A call.
iMessage.
Oh,
No,
okay.
an iMessage, a blue text message from an Apple device. So what
Yeah.
if we could get you a 60% higher response rate simply by implementing iMessage? That's a RevLift. So all
There
of
you
these little nuances. Do you know that most small businesses have bad email deliverability? What
Yeah.
if we just gave you what you need so that you could
right.
increase your email deliverability? You're going to increase your revenue. All of those little teeny tiny things. And in just the wedding industry, we have 291 identified RevLift element. They can just go execute this today. Like little micro things they can do that would just change everything. So
how do you
those are a lot of
charge?
the things that we're doing. What's that?
How do you charge for this? What is it going to be like on a monthly
It's a
basis?
flat monthly
or-
subscription. That's right. And so
Okay.
one of the core functions is that every single week, month, they're going to get a playbook. Here's the
Right.
things that you need to go do this week, this month to go execute. Here's the estimation of what it will increase your revenue, what you'll get out of it. Here's the confidence score based on our recommendation and you getting the execution. All of those details. So that's how we run it.
So do we then use level 9 to implement this plan? Is that? I mean, it's
Welcome.
like I got all these
welcome to the
things.
flywheel.
Huh?
Welcome to the flywheel.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's it.
I get level 9 to do it all.
Hey, so Joe, we gotta end the show soon, but a couple
Sure.
of things.
Yeah.
I do want to talk to you about level 9. So I need to,
Okay.
you should have my email. Pop me an email, or I'll reach
Absolutely.
out to you. I
Yeah.
need to chat with you about that for some stuff. that the other thing I'd say is like, so we talked a lot about your businesses, but what advice do you have for a small business entrepreneur? I mean, with all your experiences, learning the marketing, lead gen, all these things you've done, what would you tell the startup? Hey, do this. This is what you need to do, just in general, from a marketing sales standpoint.
So I hate giving so many other people like all the credit for some things, but this has been ringing true at a level that is like, it's almost crippling to me. We think we're doing pretty good in our businesses. And I'm like,
Mhm.
great, we're doing 8 figures. We've got phenomenal companies. We've got all this stuff going on. It's awesome. I don't have to work. What I do for work is I get on podcasts. I do strategy. I don't actually physically work. Like, I have an awesome life. I snowmobile in the winter. We do all kinds of outdoor stuff in the summer. In the summer, the thing that I did figure out just recently, and I can give credit to Alex Hermosi for this, is that when you think you're doing good, and then you look and
Yeah.
there's somebody who's doing like way better than you, the difference between you and them isn't that they're doing like, they're just doing more than you, or they're doing, maybe they're doing 10 times more than you. No, they're doing 1,000 times more than you. And
Mhm.
what I came to realize is that if we make more offers to the market, that can be simply, we just try to sell more people, or we just keep coming up with a new offer, putting it out, putting it in front of the market. The more offers you make, the more money you earn.
Hmm.
Period. It is a direct correlation. If I
Yeah.
triple my offers, the number of offers that I make, whether that be in volume of humans that we talk to, or it's in the number of actual
Sure.
different offers that we make, we triple our income. It is
Yeah.
lockstep. And so I realized, I'm like, oh my God, the difference between the next level, it's not just like, we just need to double what we're doing. We need to 100x what we're doing.
Yeah.
So I think every entrepreneur and small business out there, get somebody on your team, get a team of people. Level 9 Virtual offers it. Get a team of people who will help you execute at 100 times what you're
Yeah.
actually doing, because your income will skyrocket, the opportunities open up. And typically in business, cash solves almost all problems. So if you can make more money, you could solve a lot more problems. And so I
That's
would
right.
say, look at 100x, 1,000x what you're doing. And the way to do that is to outsource it, get it off your plate, build a team. And yeah, so
Automate.
we can 100x and I don't have to actually physically do the work, which is awesome.
That's great, man.
I mean,
Yeah,
on
there you go.
on a very simple way to look at it, I mean, we discovered that years ago with direct mail. We sent out more direct mail, we made more money. Now, a lot of small
Period.
businesses, they're afraid to market that
Yeah.
hard. They
Oh,
feel
for sure.
self-conscious about it. They feel
I don't
like,
I don't think it's self-conscious. It's seriously that they don't understand the math. And they almost refuse to
it's so
accept
true. Yeah.
math. And this is the thing that I love the most in business, is that the math doesn't lie to you.
I You're so right. But
It doesn't.
as you said, they refuse to acknowledge that, and they don't want to do it. And then if somebody says, "Oh, we got a call from a customer that says he gets too much mail from us, so we need to stop." Like, no, we sold 50 customers because of that. Why do you
Yeah.
let the
Yeah.
one who objects kill everything?
That's
You
right.
know?
Yep.
It's
Yep.
such a but so many small business owners think like that.
We
Marketing
all
and
did at
sales.
one point though. We all did at one point.
Marketing
That's
and sales
okay.
is not an expense. It's not an expense line.
It's
It's
an
an
investment.
investment. It's an
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
investment.
hard though,
As
because it's your money out of your pocket, and you
that's right.
Right.
feel like when you're a small business and basically the revenue of the business is your income, you really look at, when I put up an ad, that money comes off of it comes out of my family's nest
Sure.
egg. And so
Yes.
it's really hard,
Exactly
that
what they think.
disconnect. And that's
Yep.
why get as fast as you can, 1,000x your output, and you can 1,000x your income. I truly believe that.
I believe you.
Joe, fantastic, man. Thanks for
Yeah.
joining us today. And what a great set of companies you have. We need to have you back on, keep
Yeah.
talking
Joe's
shop
just
because,
fun.
Yeah, let's
yeah,
do it
we all,
anytime. Yay.
all right. Awesome.
Maybe the three of us could interrogate somebody jointly. That
Ooh,
would always
yeah,
be fun.
just beat them
Get
up and
somebody else in here.
cut them off and
Fi-
say you're wrong.
Yeah. Find somebody who doesn't believe in marketing at all, and they're going to tell us how great they are, and we can put them in their place.
That's right. Thanks a lot. How do people get a hold of you? How do they find your company?
Yeah, joe@joerare.com. Easiest. joe@joerare.com.
That's easy.
Joe Rare, just like it's spelled.
Yep.
Yes,
Awesome,
sir.
man.
That's it. All right. Well, as
All
you
right, guys.
said and started to say, been another episode of
Big Talk about small businesses. Thanks, Joe.
All right, you got it, guys.
See you later, man.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah,
You're
too.
great.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Big Talk about small business. If you have any questions or ideas for upcoming shows, be sure to head over to our website, www.bigtalkaboutsmallbusiness.com, and click on the Ask the Host button for the chance to have your questions answered on the show. Stay connected with us on LinkedIn at Big Talk About Small Business. And be sure to head over to our website to read articles, browse episodes, and ask questions about upcoming shows.